When most people think of serial killers, they imagine patterns, a signature, a method, a location, something that ties the crimes together, clues that help police build a profile. But Israel Keyes defied every rule in the book. For years, he hunted in silence. No taunts, no letters, no headlines. Just methodical, calculated, cold-blooded murder. He didn't have a type. He didn't have a consistent location. In fact, he went out of his way to kill differently each time, in different states, across thousands of miles. No one knew he even existed, until one single mistake exposed the monster behind the mask. Israel Keyes was born in Utah in 1978 and raised in a strict, isolated, survivalist Christian household. His family lived in cabins without electricity in rural Washington. He was homeschooled, socially cut off, and, from an early age, showed signs of disturbing behavior, torturing animals, breaking into homes, and developing an obsession with control and dominance. As a young adult, Keyes joined the army. He served honorably. His fellow soldiers described him as disciplined and quiet. Bit of a loner, but not someone you'd suspect of being dangerous. He drank, went to bars, even listened to insane clown posse. He was, to most who met him, totally unremarkable. But behind the calm exterior, Israel Keyes was planning. He was studying the FBI. He was analyzing other serial killers, especially Ted Bundy. And unlike most impulsive or emotionally driven killers, Keyes had one guiding principle: avoid detection at all costs. Over the years, Keyes moved to Anchorage, Alaska. He started a small construction business. He had a daughter. He appeared normal. He paid taxes, smiled at neighbors, a single dad with a drill and a business card. But in secret, he was preparing something horrifying. Israel Keyes created what he called kill kits. Across the U.S., he buried buckets filled with weapons, zip ties, duct tape, cash, and disposal tools. In parks, forests, behind motels. These were his trophies, his tools of death, hidden years in advance. Then he would fly to one state, rent a car, and drive hundreds of miles to commit a crime in another, using one of the hidden kits. No digital trail, no local connection, no pattern, and then he would vanish. He robbed banks, committed arson, according to his own confession, killed at least 11 people, maybe more. But Israel Keyes was unlike other killers in one more terrifying way. He had complete control over his impulses. He didn't kill because he had to. He killed because he wanted to. Sometimes he went years without murdering, just to test himself. He took pride in patience. He once described murder as his form of hobby, something he planned like a vacation. For years, no one noticed a thing. No one connected the dots, and no bodies were found. The perfect predator, hiding in plain sight. That all changed in 2012, with the disappearance of a young woman named Samantha Koenig. Samantha was an 18-year-old barista working at a coffee kiosk in Anchorage, Alaska. On February 1st, just before closing, a man approached her window and ordered coffee. Then he pulled a gun. Surveillance footage showed Samantha backing away, terrified. The man forced her to turn off the lights and leave with him. He led her out of frame, and she was never seen alive again. That man was Israel Keyes. He took her to his shed, bound her, and murdered her that same night. But what came next revealed his chilling cruelty. The next day, he sewed her eyelids open, posed her to look alive, and took a photo of her with a newspaper to make it appear she was still living. He used that photo to demand a ransom from her family, who had no idea she'd already been dead for days. Then Keyes used Samantha's debit card, traveling across states while withdrawing cash from her account. He used her phone to send misleading texts to her family. It was this mistake, using the card, that would finally unravel his dark web. Police tracked the withdrawals across Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Surveillance footage showed a man in a white Ford Focus. He wore a large hat and sunglasses, but his shape and posture were recognizable. Eventually, Keyes was arrested in Texas, near the Mexico border. At first, he denied everything, but soon he cracked. In interview after interview, Israel Keyes confessed in a chilling, matter-of-fact tone. No remorse, no emotion. He spoke calmly, as if describing grocery shopping. He confessed to killing Samantha, to flying to Chicago, driving over 1,000 miles, and murdering a couple in Vermont, Bill and Lorraine Carrier. Using a kill kit he had buried years earlier, burning down a house in Texas, to robbing banks. He claimed he had murdered at least 11 people but refused to give names or details. He didn't want his victims to be found. He said he admired Ted Bundy. But unlike Bundy, he wouldn't make the mistake of keeping trophies or forming patterns. He told the FBI he would confess to more, but only if they agreed to execute him quickly. Didn't want to live out his days in a prison cell. While in custody, Keyes was kept on suicide watch. Despite this, on December 2, 2012, he was found dead in his jail cell. He had slit his wrists and strangled himself with a bedsheet. He left behind a bizarre, cryptic suicide note, filled with poetry, symbols, and disjointed thoughts. But no names, no locations, no answers. To this day, investigators believe there are still kill kits buried across the United States, and that some of Keyes' victims have never been found. In fact, the FBI published a map of his known travel history, hoping the public might help match his movements with unsolved crimes. His case changed the way investigators think about serial killers. Keyes was smart, self-controlled, and utterly detached. He killed not out of passion, not for vengeance or ideology, but purely because he could. And that may be the most terrifying kind of killer there is.